telling you they're going to deliver time. They keep asking for your vote, telling you they're going to deliver this time. Yeah, I know all the other, cajillion times I didn't do it, but this time it's going to be different. Really? This time is going to be different. Are we still falling for this? Even after they are in power. This is what's so almost like I feel sorry for this attempt to elect some of these non-corporate Democrats, because you have people, your team is in power now, and it's terrible. You have enough progressives in office right now to affect most of the legislation that is voted on. What are they doing but voting present? That's who you want to donate your money to? You want to donate your money to somebody who's going to vote present? Or let's say they don't. What good is it that the person you voted in votes no on everything that you want to vote no on, but it passes by the team that the person you voted for is on? What does that mean? You voted in a good person on a terrible team, but the terrible team is winning. I think I'm just pointing out the obvious. I don't think any of this is a news flash, but it needed to be reinforced. And it looks like we're going to have to keep reinforcing this, because they're going to keep coming to this well of leftist progressives asking for your vote. Because over there, the red team, if they get in, they're terrible. Yeah, but Joe Biden is terrible. They're going to say all that stuff and critique it. There's a new lane, people, in politics. Cenk Uygur, Marianne Williamson, Sam Cedar, critique them. Democrats suck, blah, blah, blah. They're corporate, blah, blah, bought. In November, can you go vote for them? That's the lane. They're sounding just like you and me. Well, Cenk is not, but sounding similar to you and I. But in the end, they're just there to sheep herd you back to the less overt racist imperialists. We won. Welcome to another episode of You Left Shit Out. I'm your host, Compton J. Let's see. Started a little late. Let's get myself together here. Wanted to start up with that particular video that's from yesterday's stream. Hopefully you got a chance to watch that. Let's see here. Whatever. Okay, so we're going to be getting into Trump derangement syndrome. So let me actually pull it up here. Let's just get right into it, because I searched for news and to find out what news is out there for me to cover, because I don't watch corporate media under normal circumstances. Sorry, I just closed something. I don't watch corporate media under. Hang on a second here. I don't watch corporate media under normal circumstances, so I have to, search out for it. So in searching out for it, I came across this here. So actually, not a video. Let's share the screen. I came across this here. Cristo. I can't even say his last name. I'm not going to even try to mess it up. Right? So I go, okay. I find one video. I thought it was just a crazy video. And then I click on the person. And this is what I see. It's literally every single video is about Trump. Okay, then he has a break here. Trump. But watch this. Oh, sorry. Oh, I see why. Because those are other categories. I'm sorry. Let's just go to uploads. Then you'll see what I mean. The same sort of thing. Just rows and rows and rows of Trump videos. Rows and rows and rows of Trump videos. If this isn't Trump derangement syndrome, I don't know what is. There's not this much content to cover. And the thing is, he's getting 100,000 views, 100,000 views, 100,000 views. So there's there's people who want to hear this nonsense every day, over and over, over and over. So, discovering this made me realize that I need to do another show or something called Trump Derangement Syndrome Show, where I literally go around looking for content. There's a lot out there of people regurgitating the propaganda, the fear mongering that corporate media does. And as long as it gets the clicks, that's it. Because I know who this person is. I watched them years ago when they weren't like this. And if I scroll down, you'll see. But what happened was he did a topic and that video blew up. It was about 10 months ago. And then he did another one that blew up. And then he said, oh, wait a minute. And then it became Trump every single day. So why am I talking about this? Why would I talk about this? It's because I'm not sure why my headset is not working, but I will make do now. Let's see who's messaging me. Might be wrong. Oh, it's my daughter. All right, so middle daughter. So why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because this is the sort of messaging we have to combat. It's not just corporate media. It's the minions of corporate media. And some of them are unknowingly do it because they buy into the propaganda. And I'm not sure if this person is or not, but he is Canadian, which I find interesting. That YouTube doesn't suppress so-called leftists as long as they're spewing the same stuff that liberals are spewing about Donald Trump. As long as you're doing that, you're fine. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Anyway, so I'm getting to how I got to the topic today. So that's how it started, and then I just started looking up different people who else does Trump. Who else could be doing Trump derangement syndrome? So I looked up the usual cast: Sam Cedar, TYT. Then I looked up Benjamin Dixon, and I found a video where he's discussing with Nomiki Konst. I think that's how you say her name. The latest Joe Rogan saga. That wasn't as interesting as to me as some of the things they said in the discussion that I'm like, have you ever heard of the Democrats? So we're, it's like a 15-minute discussion or 15-minute video. We'll go through parts of it, stop and start, and kind of discuss the grift. Oh, see, maybe watch what my daughter is saying before I move on here, because she's proven to me she eats at school, because I'm like, I know you're not eating your lunch at school. So she's sending me pictures of her. Okay, I believe you eat at school now. Yeah, so that's why she's sending me that. But anyway, let's get back to, so I tell you this, literally, video upon video. It's insane. I thought it would stop, but it didn't stop. So then, so I move on and I find the Benjamin Dixon account, and that's what I'm going to pull up right now. And we're going to begin to dissect this conversation he has with Nomiki, I think that's how you say her name, about Joe Rogan. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off because otherwise it's gonna keep going off, which is annoying. So let's show you this here, and I think this is the right spot, but if it's not, I'll go ahead and rewind it. So let's play and listen to Benjamin Dixon.
Literally my color, it becomes very strange.
Yeah.
You know,
This is true.
it's
So you were asking.
White people, I need you to send something better than those two guys to the national conversation. The national discourse is not represented in its totality when you guys send Neanderthals dressed in their Monopoly suits to sit there and prevaricate or pontificate rather about the colorism. I'm going to get into that story a little bit later. I'm going to wait till Dr. Mack and Rebecca Zor and Georgia Ford get here. We're going to tackle that a little bit more. In a minute, we'll be joined by Nomiki Konst, and we're going to be discussing allyship, because in the forefront of this conversation really is, how do we work together with people who otherwise, you know, this system, Fox News, is a perfect machine to make sure that poor white people and working class white people vote against their best interest. It's literally, they're lying. They know that they are engaging in the highest level of propaganda. Joe Rogan is just extending.
CJ, you're muted.
Oh, that whole time I was muted. That's fantastic. Let me look here. 1 second, everybody. 1 second, everybody. That's why that's why JB came in. Thank you, JB. 1 second here. So the reason I muted myself, because when I play back those videos and I don't have my headphones on, you'll get like an echo feedback that you were getting last night. So I'll start from where, you know, my critique of the video. So actually, let me replay that part that I'm going to speak about so that it fits the context. Okay, so let's do that.
It is Solidarity Wednesdays, and we'll be joined momentarily by Nomiki Konst of the Nomiki Show. And as always, we'll be joined by Dr. Carl Mack discussing Black history. What happened today in Black history?
So the reason I fast rewinded it all the way back, because another point I wanted to make was the point that this show was called Solidarity Wednesdays or something. The solidarity is with Nomiki Konst. The person from the Majority Report. Like, it's amazing to me. But anyway, let's start over, and I'll remember to unmute myself this time.
Oh,
This is true.
It's
So you were asking.
White people, I need you to send something better than those two guys to the national conversation. The national discourse is not represented in its totality when you guys send Neanderthals dressed in their Monopoly suits to sit there and prevaricate or pontificate rather about the colorism. I'm going to get into that story a little bit later. I'm going to wait till Dr. Mack and Rebecca Zor and Georgia Ford get here. We're going to tackle that a little bit more. In a minute, we'll be joined by Nomiki Konst, and we're going to be discussing allyship, because in the forefront of this conversation really is, how do we work together with people who otherwise, You know, this system, Fox News, is a perfect machine to make sure that poor white people and working class white people vote against their best interests.
What is the Democratic Party exactly? Isn't that getting poor people of color, poor working class people to vote for you, to vote against your own interests? Because voting for the Democratic Party, certainly for a black person, is voting against your own interest.
It's literally, I think that is in the secret job description at Fox News, for you to get people, white people, poor white people specifically, to vote against their own best interest. This is all a part of one massive machine. And in order for us to stop things like another January 6th from occurring, in order for us to stop things for like another Donald Trump, not even Donald Trump himself, but the next Donald Trump from becoming president of the United States, we must absolutely form a team of people who have enough.
Or we can stop executing neoliberalism through the Democratic Party also. The grift to me is what you're saying and not including Democrats. And everything that you're saying, your critique fits the Democrats also. Grifting for Democrats. Terrible. So now I'm going to be all self-conscious about the mic being on. I keep looking at it now. So let's listen some more.
Influence and power to fight back against these machines. And here's what I'm saying. While you personally may not have ever heard of Jordan Peterson, and you may never ever seen this episode or this clip of what we're talking about, millions of people watch and listen to this every single day. Okay? Millions, to the tune of Joe Rogan having a $150 million contract with Spotify. If you have Spotify, you just sponsored the content that we just listened to.
The grift. So everybody's in on getting people to stop using Spotify. I wonder when they find out that Spotify is bigger in other countries than even here. They're the biggest streaming music service here in the world. Losing anything from the United States is not going to break Spotify's back. Believe me. Not whatsoever. So let's continue.
Now, that said, I want to bring in my sister from another Mr. Nomiki Konst of the Nomiki Show. Nomiki, I know it's got a, I know you're not a fan of either of those two guys. So I hate to have you here on behalf of the white delegation in the middle of this conversation, but we got to do something.
That's an uncomfortable laugh. That's what that is.
I mean, these guys, they're not working with a full bag of integrity or intelligence.
Yes. I mean, I remember about a year and a half ago, it's hard in pandemic timeline, of course, a year and a half ago, I remember folks were saying, Rogan's really great. Of course, he endorsed Bernie Sanders, but he started to get a little slippery about a year and a half ago in a more aggressive way. And I paused and I said, we as a movement, and I love Bernie in so many ways, but, campaigns are very fast. And I'm not expecting that Bernie Sanders was watching Joe Rogan or listening to Joe Rogan. I just expect he listened to his advisors, which is what, most presidential candidates should do, because they shouldn't be sitting there watching his 3-hour episodes. But what was important was he said, he's going to help bring in, Rogan is going to help bring in folks that are disaffected. Well, I believe that Joe Rogan was really trying to pull in progressive Bernie folks.
Right.
That is laughable. That's laughable. And I'm not a big fan of Joe Rogan. This is not I'm here to defend Joe Rogan. I'm just pointing out that is laughable. That Joe Rogan, it's laughable. Anyway, let's continue.
Who watch or listen to, whatever Bernie says into his audience, because, you can't have it both ways. You can't have Bernie Sanders and say you're a progressive and you believe in Medicare for all, and then have Jordan Peterson on. And Alex Jones is a regular on his show.
You mean you can't be a leftist and have people on who are opposite of your views and have discussions? This white fear structure that has been built within the political system, it's terrible. But let me just rewind that just a couple seconds.
You know, we as a movement, and I love Bernie in so many ways, but you know, campaigns are very fast, and I'm not expecting that Bernie Sanders was watching Joe Rogan or listening to Joe Rogan. I just expect he listened to his advisors, which is what, you know, most presidential candidates should do, because they shouldn't be sitting there watching his 3-hour episodes. But what was important was he said, oh, well, you know, he's going to help bring in, Rogan is going to help bring in folks that are disaffected. Well, I believe that Joe Rogan was really trying to pull in progressive Bernie
That's
folks who watch and listen to, you know, whatever Bernie says into his audience, because, you know, you can't have it both ways. You can't have Bernie Sanders and say you're a progressive and you believe in Medicare for all, and then have Jordan Peterson on. And Alex Jones is.
That really bothers me. That's why I'm stopping it again. It really bothers me. That's not a thing to say you can't have it. This is not having it both ways. You can be a leftist and talk to people who are conservative. You can't have it both ways. But this is her example of Rogan getting a little slippery. Because he has a good friend that's Alex Jones that he hangs out with. So you can't be a leftist and even hang out with or have friends, associations with people unless they're all leftists. Or in her case, liberal. We have to understand, just because you don't buy into the duopoly propaganda, you can also buy into how the duopoly approaches politics, which is, I don't agree with you, we're done. And that's on purpose so you don't come together on the things you do agree with. So I'm completely against this. I don't talk to nobody who's against me. That's absurd. Deplatforming and platforming is not a thing. Having conversations is. Thank you for your super chat. I think I missed another one. I know I missed another one, but I will find it for that person that sent that to me. Let me see if I can quickly find it. If I can't, I can always send it. Savvy Sabs in the house. Hey, Sabby. And I see a lot of familiar faces here. I will get to those comments. I wanted to see if I can find that other super chat. Oh, here it goes. Right here. Thank you for this super chat also. They are actors. They are acting. That's essentially what I'm getting to. Because earlier they mentioned something about propagandists. And I'm like, isn't that what you're doing?
A regular on his show. And I really, I'm so happy that Neil Young used his power, his labor, essentially, if we're going to really break it down, as leverage, because, you know, Neil Young is obviously an extraordinarily famous and well listened to musician over the last, 5 decades, 6 decades. And comparing that to a $150 contract with Joe Rogan, is it really worth it? And my guess is probably other musicians
Not again. It happened again. So anyway, your assessment has to be serious in order for you to be taken seriously by your audience. Sorry, having a little pain in my wrist. In order for you to be taken seriously by your audience. So this assessment of Joe Rogan, and for those, I'm gonna stop muting it. It'll have a little echo on the video sometimes, so I'm gonna stop muting it so I won't forget to
and
unmute
Alex
it.
Jones is a regular on his show, and I'm so happy that Neil Young used his power, his labor, essentially. If we're gonna really,
he used it to do what? Because Spotify still has Joe Rogan on there.
Break it down as leverage, because Neil Young is obviously an extraordinarily famous and well listened to musician over the last 5 decades, 6 decades. And comparing that to a $150 contract with Joe Rogan, is it really worth it? And my guess is probably other musicians are going to come in and say the same thing, because it's just not worth it at the end of the day.
You're talking about the legendary Neil Young, who is
oh my
pulling
God,
his
now
music
he's legendary
from Spotify because Joe Rogan has this massively lucrative $150 million contract with Spotify. And it's not just the first portion of the clip we played, Nomiki, was the climate portion, right? Which I don't want to dismiss that portion because it's just as important when you considered, it's spring here in the winter in the South. My thing is that there's so much money behind misinformation in this country. It's almost as if people like yourself or myself or anyone.
Yes, there's so much money, which is why you're giving a lot of misinformation about the Democratic Party, because there's a lot of money in it. Like, is this projection? All right.
Like, look at organizers, look at the people who actually go out here and do all the best work at the bottom of the financial structure here, while morons and propagandists like Joe Rogan literally are at the top of propaganda mountain.
Joe Rogan is at the top of propaganda mountain, but the company you're trying to get a contract with, MSNBC, isn't. You see the grift? That's the solidarity pushing Democratic propaganda. Solidarity Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that we're finally in a space where folks are starting to see it because of the pandemic. It's almost like they overplayed their hands. Or maybe they didn't. They knew that these are the folks that they were able to collect along the way of spewing misinformation, because this is obviously not the first piece of misinformation he's spread. He's been doing this for many years.
That's right. Some
people have checked it. I mean, he's been aggressively anti-trans.
He's been doing misinformation for many years, but you just said he began a slippery slope a year and a half ago. Check your facts before you start spewing. This is when you're not saying the truth. This is how these discrepancies are in your speech. When you're just spewing dumb shit.
Trans, he's used cancel culture in a way to sow a divide. He seems like he.
Do you watch MSNBC and CNN and TYT to sow divide?
He's some sort of like musclehead. I think a lot of these folks are like, oh, they're so dumb, frankly. Sometimes they say things and you're like, they're just dumb. But they're not dumb. I actually think they're very sophisticated, and they're trying to appeal to folks, everyday folks. They want to relate. They don't want to be wonky. They don't want to have, books all around them. They don't want to be, professorial, although Jordan
I have no idea
Peterson
what
does
she's
have
talking
that
about
aspect
right
himself.
now. So let's see if I can understand.
They want to be relatable. And so they use that, and they prey on insecurities just the way Donald Trump did. Just the way Donald Trump did, and so many leaders in the past.
That's right.
So he says, it's cancel culture that's making you feel insecure in your life. Not that it's really about, I don't know, the economic conditions. And then he has Elon Musk, and he says, this guy is a national treasure. Elon Musk is a national treasure. It's like, how can this is a strategy?
Well, to be fair to the morning show, I found out yesterday that one of my co-hosts on the morning show actually likes Elon Musk, even though I feel like Elon Musk is Lex Luthor with hair plugs, but I digress. But your point Your point remains. I just
We'll have
wanted
to have
put
a
that
little
out there for
conversation.
I wanted to put that on Brother Matt because he's coming in a minute. And but everything else that you're saying, Nomiki, is so right. I actually want to play one more clip, and this is a short 30-second clip of Kid Rock's new song. And I think this kind of embodies what you're saying. This is a new song that was released by Kid Rock yesterday. Side note: the comments on YouTube are turned off. That lets you know he's not proud of his work because
that doesn't mean nothing. Like it's petty back and forth, not points that aren't really points, but the people on your team will go, ha ha. That's what that is. Really bothers me.
the comments are turned off. Here's a song of him attacking Joe Biden, Anthony Fauci, attacking the COVID response, and basically, well,
get to where is the problem. He said Joe Biden, Anthony Fauci, and the COVID response. What's the problem? What's the problem here?
I don't even know how to describe it, but this is what all the conservatives are rallying behind this morning. It's trending #1 on Twitter. Here's a little clip of Kid.
Now, I'm not a Kid Rock fan. Don't care about him. Don't know much about him. Don't know his music. I don't really think he's a particularly talented musician in any way. But let's listen.
Kid Rock singing something. Here we go. We the People is the name of the song.
Ad time.
With YouTube Premium, you can download your videos and watch them without Wi-Fi. Take your videos everywhere.
There we go.
Wear your mask, take your pill. Now a whole generation's mentally ill. Man, Fauci. But COVID's near, it's coming to town. We gotta act quick, shut our borders down. Joe Biden does, the media embraces. Big Doc does it, and they call them racist. We the people. Let's go, baby. We the people.
That's it. That's enough of that. That's enough. Cut that up. Cut that. It's
That's not a thing. This is so fake.
Oh, I think I need to clean out my
That's
ears
not a
now.
real laugh.
no, Mickey.
This is so like Morning Joe-ish. This is so morning. He has the coffee in his hand. Fucking can't hold in his fucking laugh when we can clearly see you don't really laugh like that. The grift.
Get back on the screen. I'm so sorry. I was like, because here's the thing. How do you say in one sentence, everybody knows let's go Brandon? By now, if you don't know let's go Brandon, it is like the conservative way of being like, I want to cuss somebody out, but I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm going to say some fake words like let's go Brandon. But earlier in that same clip, he said F Anthony Fauci. Like you already said it, brother. So why are you now going to say, instead of saying F Joe Biden, you're going to say let's go Brandon? Nomiki, what is wrong with some of these white folks?
You see, this is what I was just saying this. This last little petty point he's making is not a thing. But your teammates will go, yeah, you owned him. What have you accomplished here? All right, it's a couple more minutes, and then we're gonna.
It's on the conservative side over there.
It's supremacy. I mean, in real talk here. Obviously, this is aggressive, and I have so many thoughts. Sorry, I have to get it collected because there's just a lot that's coming out. So first off, I saw on Twitter yesterday that in Detroit, where Kid Rock grew up, he actually grew up. You know, he puts out this working class kind of. You know, I'm an everyday guy. He actually grew up really wealthy. Shocker. Which
AOC, she wasn't really poor.
leads to my next point that they're tapping into white supremacy, which is not a shocker, but the spirit of white supremacy. The fact, oh, you're making me wear a mask. The government is making me do things, making me pay taxes, making me take a vaccine. Why isn't the pandemic over? Whether you're Barry Weiss, angry that the pandemic's not over, or Bill Maher, like done with it, or you're Kid Rock, who's trying to find a target for his inconvenience. We all know, working people in this country know, this isn't inconvenient. You go anywhere else in the world, which I have done in the last.
I was listening for the white supremacy connection that she's making.
First off, I saw on Twitter yesterday that in Detroit, where Kid Rock grew up, he actually grew up, he puts off this working class kind of, I'm an everyday guy. He actually grew up really wealthy. Shocker. Which leads to my next point, that they're tapping into.
He puts off a vibe of working class because he wears jeans in a shirt. Is it that you get a working class vibe off of what he's wearing? Because you buy into stereotypes and you make assumptions based off of how he looks when he never said that. These people aren't real. And I don't even like these people. I'm not a fan. Joe Rogan is whatever to me, and Kid Rock is like whatever to me. But the grift between these two.
White supremacy, which is not a shocker, but the spirit of white supremacy.
Oh my God. So tapping into white supremacy. I wonder, have they ever heard of Joe Biden?
See, the fact, you're making me wear a mask. The government is making me do things, making me pay taxes, making me take a vaccine. Why isn't the pandemic over? Whether you're Barry Weiss, angry that the pandemic's not over, or Bill Maher, like done with it, or you're Kid Rock, who's trying to find a target for his inconvenience. We all know, working people in this country know, this isn't inconvenient. You go anywhere else in the world, which I have done in the last year. I went to Mexico, everyone's wearing a mask, everyone. On the street, there's no question. You go to Europe, everyone's wearing a mask. There's no question about whether or not you should wear a mask, or there's always a little anti-vax community somewhere. But it is such a uniquely American libertarian.
You see the condescending of the anti-vax community. And listen, I don't agree with the anti-vax community. I mean, the anti-vax community that's against all vaccinations, because that was a thing before this. The whole community against vaccinations. And anyway.
/ white supremacist way of thinking that is not just about taxes. It's about building a movement that resents government for telling them what to do and making their lives inconvenient, because they're not used to being told what to do, because they get away with whatever they want.
And that is the essence of the whole thing. Like, I could use that framing. Actually, that's actually a great frame to understand it, because that is the nature of the conversation with Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson that we just played. That is the nature of why they brought up Michael Eric Dyson. I don't know if you recall that clip from about 2 years ago at the debate, when Michael Eric Dyson called Jordan Peterson a mean, bitter, angry white man. That was the nature of that situation, right? That is the framing. They are so used to getting away with anything and everything that if they have to consider your pronouns, if they have to go to your Twitter page and look up your pronouns, they think that they are oppressed.
Yes, exactly. It's like, oh, you're so tough. This is oppression to you? Wait till you see what most Americans are dealing with.
That's right. I mean, that's right. I would venture to say that there's not a white conservative rich man who can live a year in the life of the people that they think that they're better than, and that they want to lecture about working harder. I guarantee you, Elon Musk could not.
Let me tell you something, Ben. The person that's right next to you, she couldn't survive either a day. So come on, bro. Let's not. This shit is terrible.
Live a year in a working class person's life. That said, I want to talk about solidarity, because behind all this,
so this is something I discovered in watching this. So the term solidarity is being co-opted, or has been co-opted, because they do not mean solidarity in the way that we mean solidarity.
Is the need for us to transcend our normal way of organizing underneath the big tent. And this is what I mean. I don't mean the Democratic Party big tent. I mean all of the alliances that are necessary. Everybody has their own individual issue or a handful of issues. No one group of people represent the totality of all the political issues that have to be addressed in this country. Therefore, in order for some of us to win, we've got to unify with folks that don't look like us. They don't worship like us. They may not, whatever. We're going to be different. Talk to us about solidarity across those different silos.
Right. They're using the term solidarity to mean unify. Because solidarity means you're standing with specific issues. Right. It's not solidarity I'm solidarity with black people. No. I have solidarity with you with ending police violence against people of color. That's solidarity. Saying that we are all different and we have to come together to unite against a bigger enemy. That's unity. Uniting regardless of the differences in the issues you have, and not uniting behind an issue, but uniting in order to defeat someone else. That's unity, not solidarity.
I mean, intersectionality is a concept.
Put it this, and this just came to me. Why are you having to do this if the Democratic Party isn't just as terrible? So are you trying to paint is the picture that people like these two and other people, is your picture that the Democrats are good and the Republicans are how you describe terrible, evil people, and the polls are this close? How is that? Oh, those people are believing the propaganda from Joe Rogan and Kid Rock. Oh, that's why they're duped. But your side doesn't do any propaganda at all. It's just the truth, right? You just skip over all their imperialist, capitalist bullshit.
Concept that we spew out a lot, but I don't think a lot of people really dig deep and understand. Intersectionality, it brings different folks together from different backgrounds and different races and ethnicities, but with that common thread of it's a class struggle. Ultimately, we know
they have completely co-opted leftist concepts language and completely these words and these concepts they're talking, there's none of this stuff they're doing.
Those different silos.
I mean, intersectionality is a concept that we spew out a lot, but I don't think a lot of people really dig deep and understand.
You don't spew out it a lot either, actually.
It brings different folks together from different backgrounds and different races and ethnicities, but with that common thread of it's a class struggle. Ultimately, we know that the group of white supremacists, I'm just say it straight up, the white supremacists that are controlling this country are controlling it through our economy mainly. And when they can't control it through the economy, they use their economic means to control it through government and create all these wars, these culture wars to divide it.
So racists are telling non-racist politicians to do shit. That's what's happening. Not that the politicians are racist because they're shielding for the Democrats. You see why they can't? It has to be somebody else is doing the shit.
Everybody, so that of course your energy is not focused on the big fights, them, but focused on petty little things between you, or made up things like the CRT fight, or I'm sure we could find a million things in the progressive movement that we can fight. Or sometimes we get triggered by certain things that are legitimate but may not be the big priority, and it's to drain our energy away from the big fights. I think what's different right now, and it's reassuring to see this, is that because the conditions are so stark for so many people and they've had it, when we couldn't pass an economic package that really relieves what people are facing right now, getting food on the table, being able to pay your rent, student loans, etc., $15 minimum wage. Because we weren't able to pass something so basic as that, I think you're seeing workers across this country just fed up and they're quitting. And the inflation, everyone's talking. Larry Summers has his whole theory on inflation, but when you talk to Professor Richard Wolff, also an economist, or other economists that are progressive, they say, no, the inflation, a lot of it has to do with, employers jacking up their prices, whether it's shipping employers.
Now, they use Richard Wolff. Do they know what Richard Wolff thinks of the Democratic Party? Or they only use them for certain things? You see this? This is really about, they're masquerading as leftists, but they're liberals. But when you masquerade as a leftist and you're a liberal, you can't really give a full-on critique, or she can't really go into the discussion about Richard Wolff and what he says, because it'll eventually get back to a critique of the Democratic Party, which she works for.
Who have a monopoly and very little government oversight, or employers at your local coffee shop who are jacking up their prices. And employees are seeing that, saying, wait, you're blaming it on us, that you have to pay us, and that's why the prices are going up? We quit. And that, I think, is the conditions have created a scenario where solidarity is the only option. So
you see how they weigh their solidarity is they're not even using the word right, because they're using it to mean unity. But because the left uses words like solidarity, they literally just copy us. They go, hey, the real leftists are saying this. We better start saying it. That's literally what happens. This is not how solidarity is supposed to be used. In the way, the only option is that is not how you... The only option is solidarity. That's not how solidarity is used. You stand in solidarity with my community, and I'll stand in solidarity with yours.
I look at solidarity in these moments and just
replace it just grammatically sounds incorrect to me. Unity, because they're trying to use the leftist language to show that they're leftists.
Suppose it with Joe Rogan making comments like he has in the past, or Elon Musk, or of course, Jeff Bezos. I think the grand public is starting to get, these guys are full of you know what, and we have to work together. There's no way we can rely on government to save us from this. We have to use whatever power we have to fight back.
Absolutely. I want to bring in Dr. Carl Mack into the conversation. Because you said something there that I want to give him the
I'm going to stop it there because they go off on some other stuff that they talk about that's not pertinent to the topic. But I'm not done. There's just another video that I would like to cover, and it's one of the videos I mentioned earlier with let me go to my history here about the person. Now I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Cristo Avilas. I think that's how you say it. So I'll put it back on the screen. This is how I got to the topic with Ben Dixon. If you just joined the stream, I kind of explained it. I first discovered this here. And now so Chris used to have something like 5,000 followers. Last time I checked was like 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Now he has this. It's because look at his videos here. Trump derangement syndrome. Like absolutely ridiculous. So you're trying to tell me Trump news is news every day on Trump? Every day. There's actually a better question is there's no other news than Trump. So let me see. Let me play one of his videos right here. Let's check the grift here. Let's get through this little ad. But let's
Guys,
listen.
the weather where I am is a little gloomy today. And so with that in mind, I wanted to have a bit of fun and bring you guys another absolutely fantastic ad taking down Donald Trump, and deservedly so. And unsurprisingly, it's connected to all of the stories that have come out.
Donald Trump is not in office.
In the last few days, particularly about his company, his accounting, his property values, all of that. It's great front to back, but wait till the end because that's when it becomes amazing.
A big blow for Trump tonight. His longtime accounting firm just retracted all of the annual financial statements it prepared for him from 2011 to 2020.
All right, I'm gonna pick a different video. I got time for this dumb shit. So let me pick the video that I saw. It's right. Hang on. Oh, I think it's this one right here. So let me pick this one.
Hey, Sylvie,
that we'll
if you're dealing with
discuss.
pain or discomfort in your head, neck, shoulders, back, arms, or
These
legs,
ads.
At least
So let
quietly,
me rewind it
and
because I was watching it earlier. So let me rewind
Donald
it. Now,
Trump
this is
in
the
so
one.
many ways, and we've covered this, is pretending that he's president still. The way he acts, the powers that he pretends he still has, the seals he still uses on his documents and at his golf club. This dude still thinks he's president, and that's not going to stop. But there are these little moments where Donald Trump gets truly desperate because he knows that he's facing prison time and he knows that he's facing.
So this is another reason why I wanted to talk about this particular person. You're revving up people to believe that this oligarch is going to prison. The oligarch is never going to prison. And you're pushing that narrative. And to me, it's very dangerous. And it comes from corporate media to push this narrative as if your political opponents are ever going to go to jail. They're never going to go to jail. The Hillary Clintons, the Donald Trumps, they're never going to prison. But you have this content that you're trying to, oh, see, and yeah, he's almost there. Like you're always at the edge of almost catching him. Look, this other report. How do you not see this is the same thing as Russiagate? And I was duped by Russiagate up until the Mueller report came out. Then I said, this is it? This is some motherfucking bullshit. And then I started reading on it. Then I found out, yes, Russiagate. People are going to fall for it again. Leftists are going to fall for it again. And this is my belief because the Green Party did what, 2 or 3% last time? When all those people were saying, oh, I'm not voting for Joe Biden. People are claiming to be leftists on social media and talking to you leftists and then getting that voting booth and the liberal comes out of them. People want to be part of the cool club. They want to be part of the cool crowd, the real anti-establishment. Ben Dixon, Nomiki, using language that, get the fuck out of here. I'll leave it there.
Facing massive legal consequences. And in those moments when he again is truly desperate, he has no choice but to beg the actual literal president, Joe Biden, for any help he can get. We've already seen this before, where Donald Trump at first, before he went to court to stop the archives from releasing his records, he went to Joe Biden and wrote a letter to Joe Biden saying, please, Mr. Biden, please don't release the documents. Please don't screw me here, Joe. And in that moment, he recognized, at least inadvertently, at least quietly.
Let me just remind you, Donald Trump is not in office.
That he's not the president anymore, and Joe Biden is, because fundamentally, Biden controls the records. And that's exactly what happened last night and this morning, as once again, Donald Trump went to Joe Biden to beg him to hide the visitor logs from the White House, and Joe Biden...
You see the language? Beg and hide?
Biden rightfully once again laughed in his face and said, Mr. Trump, I'm releasing those records whether you like it or not. And it says here, in a letter to the National Archives, Mr. Biden's White House counsel, Dana Remus, said Mr. Biden had rejected Mr. Trump's claims that the visitor logs were...
But you see this, day-to-day detail that you're talking about, that you're getting your audience to invest in, just for them to be let down when he doesn't go to prison. It's the same letdown I had with Russiagate when I was buying into that bullshit. You're believing, oh, that document came out, and I remember Rachel Maddow had the board of all these people and this and that. Come to find out she's a fucking liar. And in court, like, nobody thinks this is real.
Subject to executive privilege, and that in light of the urgency of the committee's work, the agency should provide the material to the committee.
This is not a thing.
Within 15 days, the New York Times reported Wednesday. Mr. Biden similarly decided last year not to support Mr. Trump's claim of executive privilege over other batches of White House documents and records sought by the committee. The White House sent the letter to David S. Ferrario, an archivist at the United States on Tuesday, and planned to inform Donald Trump down, because the visitor logs might say who visited, how long they were there, and that's important, but it's not as if it's a transcript of the actual meetings. It's not as if we know what Donald Trump said.
This January 6th shit has really got people bought in to another investigation trial that's never going to produce anything. Do you really believe that Donald Trump is going to go to jail? This motherfucker groped women and was elected, but you think he's going to go to jail? And you have all these people buying into this nonsense, being invested in this blue and red game. Just complete nonsense. Donald Trump is terrible. There's a lot of other things to cover besides Donald Trump every day.
Or what was said to him by those visitors.
I think I need to do a show called, I said this earlier, the Donald Trump Derangement Show. And I just cover liberal clips of them just going absolutely insane about nothing. This is another one that I saw earlier. Like, just going insane about literally oh, look at this ad. Let me see what this ad is about here. Insurrectionist investigation. Tell Merrick, appoint a special counsel. What? You see what ads they're playing for me now?
Donald Trump is in gargantuan legal trouble right now. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. And even top conservative lawyers are arguing that what we've seen from Donald Trump and all the sources around him are the best chance to put him away for years thus far.
You see this? You're selling to people that an oligarch is going to go to prison. And exactly what would that be for? Because anything that Donald Trump can go to prison for, about another 100 oligarchs can go to prison for. And somebody says, oh my God, stop. Hey, I'm putting you through this torture because we have to see what is going on here. Let me listen some more here.
Of all the crimes he's been doing and he's ordered his people to do over years, if not decades, the story around his destruction of documents is the biggest, brightest chance to throw this goon behind bars. It notes here. Truax pointed out that.
So the Democrats are scared. The Democrats don't have anything to offer. The Democrats are neck and neck with Donald Trump after all the shit that he's done. After January 6th, they are terrified. How are you this terrified? Why do you have to propagandize about January 6th when all you have to do is offer something better? Offer something better and Donald Trump disappears forever. But you don't. You want to keep offering us the same thing, and you want to make Donald Trump out to be this evil, terrible person, which he is, but everybody else in Capitol Hill is too. He's not uniquely terrible. Joe Biden is terrible-er. I just made that up. Terrible-er. Joe Biden. Like, this is an you can't, it's just facts. He's deporting more people, more deaths in COVID, and with the vaccination. Inflation. The fuck out of here. So let me put up a couple of comments here. It's a virtual bookshelf. Okay. Talk about destroying documents. HRC private server. Like, this is it's so. I'm only gonna tell you all the bad stuff that the other people did, and pretend not to see all the same terrible things that my team did. That's essentially what you have to do to join the Democratic Party. Isn't that what AOC is doing? The kids in cages, now they're facilities. It's the same kids, the same cages, built by Joe Biden, who was part of the team that built the cages. But because it's your team, AOC, it's different. Let's go through some more comments here. No, you didn't. I say terribler all the time. Biden is badder in a bad way, not a good way. All those books and not an ounce of sense. That's a good one. Yeah, that's just for show. Like I said, I watched this guy like 2 years ago, and he's always been not that great. Like his takes and his critiques has always been pretty terrible. But when I discovered he found a niche, Trump derangement, that's his niche. I already put that one up. Let's keep going up here. We're finally gonna get him this time. Exactly. We're finally gonna get him this time. Couldn't get him an impeachment, an investigation that has the power of Congress behind it, in the FBI, and whoever else they want to investigate. That didn't produce nothing, but this will. Okay. CJ, make it stop, please. Yeah, I stopped the video. So yeah, let's take this down. We're gonna be switching gears here anyway. So let me bring this down here, and we're gonna wrap up, or the last topic we're gonna talk about is the stream yesterday. I'll bring it up, gonna share it on the screen and everything in just a second. But it's the Katie Halper stream, or I'm sorry, it was on Katie Halper's channel, but the stream was Marianne Williamson, and if RBN had a live stream to cover it. And let me put it on the screen now. Here, I got it up here. So, let me take this off. I got that up here. So 11,000 views. I'm not gonna play it right now. I'm gonna put it on mute here while it gets through this commercial here. Okay. All right, but if you go through the comments are not good. They're not. So look up the video, go through the comments. They're pretty terrible. Pretty terrible. And there's a couple of parts I do want to kind of put out there. So let's kind of listen to the first few minutes of it, and I'll give my critique there.
And welcome to our Left Takeover Seize the House live stream, where you're going to meet all kinds of incredible non-corporate candidates who have disrupted their lives to step up and try to do something good for the country. So I'm really excited to hear from all of them. I am one of your hosts for the evening, at least for a portion of the evening. For the stream tonight,
because
we
Crystal
have
bailed
over
out
in this corner, Brianna Joy Gray. She is host of the Bad Faith podcast. She also is former press secretary for Bernie Sanders and worked at The Intercept and did all kinds of other wonderful things. You guys all know her and love her. We have over in this corner, Juliana Forlano. Our first time with Juliana joining us for these streams. So very excited to have her. She is host of Act TV's Act Now, and welcome to everybody who is watching.
She's
right
new.
now
I don't
on
know
Act
her
TV,
well, so I don't
by the
know
way, and thank you guys
anything
for
about her.
supporting us there. We have over here Katie Halper. She is co-host of the Useful Idiots podcast and also host of the Katie Halper Show, which you can find on YouTube and Patreon and all of those places.
All right.
And
Let's get through some of this here.
Fortunately, the establishment forces that work within both political parties that too often peripheralize the kinds of candidates that we're talking about here tonight. So all of us have podcasts and work that we do, putting out information all the time. I love the badass panel that we have here. And the people that you will hear tonight, specifically in answer to your question. And this is where I really hope that you will look at your site and look at that donate button at seizethehouse.com. These people, by definition, do not have corporate support. And one of the things that Crystal already said, it's hard to run for office. It is brutal out there. And particularly...
Yeah, it is brutal. In particular, when you're running under a party that's terrible. Really brutal in that case. Very brutal when you're doing that. But
office all day, every day. And I think what Crystal just said is so important. It breaks my heart sometimes when I see so much more audacity on the right. And
audacity on the
I was
right.
there.
So this is a section I wanted. When Crystal goes to Bree,
you're going to meet of the great candidates that are out there. These are just the number that we could fit into this live stream. Bree, I wanted to ask you, we have all had our political hearts broken more than a time.
Marianne Williamson is not happy with this shit here. So maybe this is the bargain. Hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm saying what I want to say. Oh, okay. But there's moments throughout this stream where Marianne Williamson is not happy with what is being said. But let's continue here.
Number two at this point. And there are a lot of folks out there, some of whom may be watching the stream right now, who say, you know what? I just don't believe this is going to work. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think it's going to change. I believed in the squad. They haven't, we just saw AOC this week, unwilling to even say a word against Nancy Pelosi in an interview. I just don't know that this direction is a fruitful use of time. And some people would even go further and say, in fact, by even backing people in Democratic primaries, you're sort of bolstering the Democratic Party and channeling people into a Democratic Party that does not deserve their support. So let me ask you personally, because you're sympathetic to that viewpoint, why are you here?
Well, that's a $64,000 question, $100,000 with inflation. And, it's something that I think the candidates are going to have to answer as we talk to them tonight. The refrain that we've gotten, and I will say, you talked about heartbreak. I was covering the 2018 midterms for The Intercept. I was there the night that AOC unexpectedly won her primary in a huge bar in Queens that was empty with maybe 20 people in it and suddenly was packed to the gills with Cynthia Nixon and all these cameras and everything. And it was exciting. We really thought things were going to change. I was on the bandwagon, right? And so when I have offered the critiques that we've all been making over the course of the last couple of years, it's coming from a place of sincere disappointment, not kind of, haterade.
Yeah.
And so when I reflect on these candidates, which seem, as promising in some ways as AOC, I think it's really important to ask them specifically whether or not they would be willing to take the kind of adversarial attitude that we expected from AOC and other squad members. Because what we've seen is that some of these biographical things that we thought were going to mean a lot didn't pan out quite the way we expected,
That's because her biographical facts are actually not facts. And Sabrina breaks it down in a great stream she did yesterday yesterday, where she talks about all the bullshit story about AOC's background, and she talks about the truth. But it's funny you say that. Nick was saying how his take from it was that Bree and Crystal was kind of the people, the antagonizers of the group. They were there. That was supposed to be those, that part. And maybe that's the case, because she is the one who's bringing up the squad, didn't follow through kind of thing. So maybe that is the case. But throughout the stream, it's she plays that role. I don't know. Is she on? No. If you're watching this, they're just using the breaking points. This is not Ryzen, by the way. Breaking points set. If she's on Ryzen, that's something new. I was not aware of that. But this set is the breaking points set that I guess they're being allowed to use here. Who are these folks now? New squad, not buying this panel. Yes, and the thing is, when I watched it, I got the feel that really that Crystal and maybe Bree and a little bit even Katie weren't exactly down with this particular strategy, or maybe they're hearing the murmurs or the rumblings of people being dissatisfied with this type of strategy. So let's see what else we have here. She couldn't even say shit because that's Crystal and Sagar space. Correct. Some people would say that. Okay. All right. So let's get back to a little bit of it, and then I'm going to fast forward to another part that I kind of want to cover in this stream before we head out here.
I have a lot of respect for, certain positions that someone like Cori Bush has taken. I have a lot of respect for the kind of life she's led and the choice to pursue politics when she was experiencing homelessness in a very recent past. At the same time, we know that is not a one-to-one ratio in terms of how they're actually going to behave when they're.
See, this is why they have Bree, because Bree is saying these motherfuckers didn't follow through with what they said, but she's saying it in a nice way. It's not a one-to-one ratio that they go through this and they actually do something. That's a nice way of putting it. But what I want to do is fast forward to when they cover Nina Turner. And that's the part we're going to end on, is the section of this stream where Nina Turner, she appears, but then she has some problems and has to come back later. So she's after this guy. Where is he at? Nina. Oh, wow. Oh, I must have passed it already. Hold on a second. Nina. Oh, this is it right here. I think this is it. Well, anyway, we're gonna see if this is where she was able to continue her interview. It looks like she was, but we'll see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is it. Okay. So let's start it here. Am I sharing already? Yeah, I am. So let's start it here and let's watch Nina Turner. I'll give my thoughts on it. Alrighty.
So, Nina, tell us, when you're in Congress, what are things going to look like? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm definitely going to take this hell-raising humanitarian spirit there with me. And certainly I understand serving in a body. I mean, I served in the Cleveland City Council. I served in the Ohio Senate. When you serve in a body, you're serving with other folks. But there is a spirit, an attitude that must percolate through the halls of Congress that does declare that we must push policy, that the policies of this nation must bend towards the will of the poor, the working poor, and the barely middle class. So I'm going to stand up for those people who are disfranchised, the dispossessed, the forgotten, with a fervor. It's going to be as if somebody's in the middle of the ocean saying, hey, come save me. And the question becomes that if you are in the middle of that ocean and you're about to drown, who do you want to come to save you? The people that clutch the pearls and tighten their ties? Or do you want the type of people to come out there to save you who are going to radically come out there to save you. I believe
I would rather communists. I would rather socialists. Yeah, that's who I would rather. Revolutionists, not a Democrat or Republican.
if somebody's life was on the line, they want the person who's going to radically and not ask for permission come out there to save them. So, baby, I'm bringing the heat.
You know, without saying any names, you told me that one sitting congressperson said, please run, Nina, we need you here. What's going to be the strategy next time? Let's say you get there. What's going to be the strategy next time? How are these obstructions, how are these roadblocks to genuine progressive change going to be dealt with? How are you going to do what some people have tried to do and haven't been able to?
Well, we just need a few people. We don't need them all. We need people who have the courage of their convictions and have a backbone and a spine and are willing to take risks. Not on every single. It has to be strategic.
Not on every single fight. Not everyone. We have to be strategic just on some things. That sounds very similar to AOC in the squad. As a revolution, I'm fighting every single fight hard. In particular, against this empire.
And we know that we do it. But there's certain things we're fighting for, certain things we're putting up that fight and drawing the ire of the more corporatist wing of the Democratic Party and the corporatists on the Republican side. I mean, we just know Republicans have lost their ever-loving mind. And then we got corporatists on the Democratic side that are holding on to things that are not helpful. So just being in coalition with people who are willing to take those kinds of risks. Not one person can do it all, but I think a few good people willing to make a stand can absolutely change things.
We have a few good people in Congress now that does nothing but text a bunch of shit. So,
and I'm not going to capitulate on the things that I believe in the most. So I'm bringing that fire with me as I brought all over every time I've served in elected office, and I know what it's like to be in a minority. I was in a super minority when I was a state senator. But one thing my Republican colleagues did not ever want, they didn't want Sister Colonel taken to the floor. They did not want that. And there were times where they didn't need me to pass anything, but they would come by and see me on certain issues because they didn't want me to use the power of the bully pulpit. That is what I am going to do. And take it on the road if necessary. Because I believe that more people put a little extra on their ordinary, extraordinary things can happen. We do not have to accept things as they are. We can see a world as it should be and fight for that world. And we got to have leaders who are willing to put something on the line. And that is why.
What are your legislative priorities? You get there, it's your first day. What are you going to work on first?
Oh, Lord, Marianne, it's all the things, but I would just say Medicare for all without a doubt.
No, you're working on whatever Nancy Pelosi wants you to work on. This is where we're selling that these freshman people are going to come in and do absolutely nothing. But they're going to come in and overpower a person who's been in there for 30 years, entrenched in corporate money, making millions off of it. You think they're going to let her come in and disrupt that? Fuck out of here.
Very disappointed about what happened in the great state of California, but that's another interview for another time.
No, that's not another interview for another time. That's an interview for now, because you guys want us to elect non-corporate progressives. That's what California has. I'm not going to say non-corporate, but progressives. The speaker was part of the Bernie Sanders campaign. The one who pulled the bill in California, the Medicare for All bill, CalCare, the one who pulled it, he was on the Bernie Sanders campaign. What else are people supposed to do? Someone from the Bernie Sanders campaign, someone who advocates for Medicare for All, pulls the bill because there's not enough votes. Why aren't there enough votes? It's all Democrats. All of y'all say y'all want Medicare for all and give people health care. So my question is, Nina, when Nina gets to Capitol Hill, if she does, what are you doing when you get there? You're doing exactly what Nancy Pelosi tells you to do. That's what you're doing. Nancy Pelosi takes money. You don't. And the people that give her money want her to do some specific things that she's going to get executed. You're on that team. You're not against it. I mean, you're against it, but who cares? It matters what the leader's doing and whether she or not that person takes corporate money. Because if your boss takes corporate money, your boss tells you what to do. Forget the boss. Your organization takes corporate money. The team you're joining takes corporate money, but you don't. I'm just, the silence is just, sometimes I have to just think to myself, are people even buying this dumb shit?
We need one of these states to come through to show this nation that it can and it should be done. All of the issues that have to do with decency, raising the minimum wage. Why don't we have the PRO Act passed? What's up with that? Why don't we have paid family medical leave? What's up with that? Mr. President, sign the executive order and cancel student debt. What is up with that? Those are the things that need to happen in this country right now so that the people who need the help the most, that they get it. So, Marianne, that one, you asked me a loaded question. What's the one thing? I want to come in there and do all the things. And it's not enough just to have somebody who's going to vote the right way or they sign on to something. What are they willing to put on the line for it? That is the difference between me and
Does anybody know what Nina Turner is willing to put on the line? Anybody? Please, speak up. What is Nina Turner willing to put on the line? Nothing. Zero. It's all about neoliberalism. Absolutely. All right, so let's listen to a little more. It's coming to an end very soon. It's not a long interview.
Person who currently holds the seat.
Speaking of the person who currently holds the seat, you went through a very tough special election already.
Oh God, listen to this part here. Listen to this here.
I know, all of us watched it. You were treated terribly. It was really, really dirty politics.
Saying dirty politics is like saying dirty dirt. And saying it in a way as if that's not what goes on all the time, as if this is special.
You had a deep decision to make that I know wasn't easy. Would you get back up, get back in there? Can you tell us a little something about what went on inside you that you said, yeah, I'm going back out there. I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to win this time?
Well, Marianne, I have to say to people who are listening and watching, you bring people like me before the people to say that you were with me in those moments of trepidation that I had about whether or not to get back in the fight in this way. I'm never leaving the fight. And it was gut-wrenching. I definitely went through a lot of agony and pain, as you know, as you were helping to counsel me through this. But when I think about, not only what the last brother talked about the possibilities, I realized that on the Underground Railroad, my city was a station of hope. And hope is an action word. And as I look back over my life and the lives of other people that I stand up for and stand beside, because it's not just about having a fight or somebody that's going to fight for. You need somebody that's going to fight with. And I firmly recognize that when I thought about my son and my grandchildren, and also my dad, who was in his 70s, it just reminded me of how important this mission that I am on is, and that I should take the risk, take the chance to do this one more time. And then lastly, to that point, all of the outpouring of support that I have received from people, not only people who live in the 11th district. I mean, there was a time, sisters, where right after that race, I would go to the grocery store and somebody would say, I hope you run again, or I voted for you. Just taking all of those voices with me on top of making this decision helped to push me from concentrating on the pain that I was feeling because I was maligned something terribly. And it's one thing, fighting against somebody to win the seat. It's another thing to go through the hell that I went through.
Oh my goodness, what is she describing? What happened to her what hell did she go through? What are you talking about? I literally don't know what she's talking about. But answer me this question. The hell by who? The Democrats, the people you want to join? Is that what you're talking about? So you're going to join the people that took you through all of this? Gotcha, Nina.
That race, another story for another time. But it was a combination of all of that goodwill of people in the past, people in the present, and looking towards the future that reminded me that I am on assignment and that I must run this race at least one more good time. And so Sister Turner is in it, baby. We're gonna do this one more good time. And no matter what happens, they can rest assured that as long as God gives me breath in my body, I am not going anywhere. I am embodying the station of hope.
Well, that's why we love you. You're a star among so many people in the progressive movement, people who want to see the kind of humanitarian values that you stand for turned into public policy, people who want to see that shift from an economic to a humanitarian bottom line. I think a lot of people felt after you did not win
this part
in that special election, maybe I should have done a little more.
People. So she's saying maybe some people in the last election was like, maybe I could have done more. Fuck it, then I'm working 60 hours a week and I got 2 kids to take care of. Fuck that shit. I got to do more for Nina Turner. The putting the onus on the voter.
What could we have done to help her more? Is there anything you want to tell those who already are on board with you, who know you?
Listen, Nina Turner lost because she turned her back on leftists. Leftists to put her over the top. She did that, turned that smaller community off, and they left. And they're not coming back, and you probably won't win again. You can't make a deal with these people and then want to crawl back to us. Asking for a vote. That's what this entire thing, and this is what I heard, that this entire thing actually was just to promote Nina Turner, and they added other candidates. Because Nina Turner needs to come back to the left as well. But she can't directly ask because she turned so many of us off. So that's why this event is here. The other guests were there for what, 2 minutes? A question? A bullshit question too. So they bring her on because she's the main one. They're trying to get elected. And she realizes now, I need some of that left power that I had before my podcast. Because that's, to me, is when things start to change. She got the podcast. Then she gets the TYT. I'm sorry. She gets the podcast. Then she runs, turns her back on the left, loses, blames big money, and now realizes, hey, the conservative and the moderates, Chantel's going to get them because the establishment wants her. I need some leftist people to pull me over the top. Good luck with that. And if Marianne Williamson is the person, the agent you have selected to go get you some leftists, I feel sorry for you. Yeah, let's see. If Nina runs for Libertarian or Green Party leadership, then she'll have my attention. Nina Turner could run as a Green Party candidate. She got cold feet during FTV. And for those that don't know, that's forced to vote. She sold out. Lots of great comments here. has looked into the National Black Caucus of the Green Party USA. They have taken a stance on vaccination mandates as a left worker, basic rights, human rights. Imagine. No, I haven't looked at it. Nope. True that. Just trying to make sure I get more comments before I finish up with Nina on the screen here. Nina didn't try to win. Her election was 17% turnout. 17% turnout. There's people on Twitter that Nina could have called. I messaged her directly and said, whatever you're going to need, I got you. And she was like, okay, thank you. That was before she decided to turn her back on us. If she had still those people, like me, like Nick, and all the people, and a lot of people that follow us, she would have won. More phone banking. That's what you need. Leftists will phone bank. But no more are you going to talk our talk and ignore us, and then we still turn out for you. That shit's over. Anyway, let's finish this up so I can finish the stream up before it gets too late here.
To whom you're not a new face here, as so many of the candidates are here tonight. What do you need from us? Obviously money. People know about the donate button. Do you need people to come to Ohio? What do you need? Tell us how we can help you.
I would love that time, talent, and treasure. Definitely putting some money towards the mission. If people can do phone banking, just giving them their time, they can go to my website, ninaturner.com. Whatever people can do, where they are with what they have is what we need. I do believe that if everyday, ordinary people put a little extra on their ordinary, extraordinary things.
If everyday, ordinary people put a little extra, you can get me over the top. So you work 60 hours, another 10 hours. Let's do it. Let me get in so I can do absolutely nothing. Because I'm joining a fucking terrible team. Nobody is donating. And it was pretty bad. I think Sabrina was like really in detail in the comments, and she was like, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all in the comments for this stream. And you can still go in there now. Go look at the comments. We're not doing this shit. We're not voting for Democrats. Why don't we do something better? Does it have to be this way? They're not good. Come to Ohio and vote. Yeah, that's true. Just a short time ago, you would never hear anybody say this about Nina Turner. So here's a good question. Is it that they've changed on us, or they never was that? You get what I'm saying? Did she flip on us, or did we project onto these people, onto her, something that is not real? You get what I'm saying? Yelling and screaming with, Bernie Sanders and come on, let's fight, fight, fight. But what about teaming up with the Democratic Party? What about running with the Democratic Party? What about your backers? How are you going to treat them when you start running? You going to shun them? You're going to stop tweeting like the way you tweeted? Or you going to stop referencing Joe Biden or talking about Joe Biden in the terms like voting for Joe Biden is like eating one pile of shit instead of two? Because that's exactly what happened. All of that went away. But all of that is what people loved you for. You can't take that away and expect your most strongest supporters to stay with you and come out and vote for you. You just simply cannot. We do need protests in the streets. Let me go up. I haven't been going up that much, so let me go and get some more of these comments at the top here. TYT have money too. Should we let them help? Right. Yeah, give TYT. Call up, I think his name is Katzenberg. Jeff Katzenberg. Call him up for some money. He gave him 20 million. I'm sure he got a couple 100,000 for you. Scott directing her, yeah. Because she has a special skill. Okay. Hey, picture framing is expensive. She ain't hurting. Yes, I get you. God wanted her to run as a Democrat again. Get the fuck out of here. No, that is funny. As a Democrat, God wanted you to run as a Democrat. That sounds just as ridiculous on when saying that God picked Donald Trump to be president. You sound ridiculous. All right, I think I got most of those comments there. And I keep thinking this is the end. Let's hope that this is the end here.
And we know that when somebody serves in Congress, even though they are elected from a district area, we know that they represent the entire country and even the entire world. And so I need that people power to come back to my rescue this time around and to help us over the finish line. Yes, us over the finish line. So go to NinaTurner.com and get involved any way that you can. It will be greatly appreciated.
Well, I know that I speak for thousands and thousands of people who so hope that we will get you across the finish line and who feel in our hearts that we'll be able to this time. I know you're in California. I know you're doing some fundraising tonight. I know people out there love you and want to talk to you. So thank you so much for being with us. So appreciate it.
And to all the sisters, seize the house, baby.
Thank you, Senator Turner.
You know, Brianna, you have talked about the disappointment and the emotional, drama that we all go through. Think about what a burst of energy it will be for so many people if we can get Nina Turner into Congress.
Yeah, it's hard. I was thinking as she was describing Cleveland as this beacon of hope, I was thinking of my family's roots there and how my mom recently got into Ancestry.com. And
I'm going to cut it there to kind of go into some other items. But yeah, and if please go watch our video where we fully, full on critique or talk about this stream. It's really some good conversation. We all kind of touch upon it in that stream. Me, Nick, Rome is here. JB was on there. I think the only one that wasn't there was Josana, but everybody else was able to make it the Viewpoint 2.0. I really got the vibe. Well, Crystal Ball 1, she was only there for like 10 minutes. Maybe it was a scheduling conflict, or maybe she thought that shit was bullshit. Maybe she's not on board with that. Just saying. Right? Okay, so let's cover the last thing. Just news here. Hang on a second. I'm checking my Twitter. But before I get into this last part, so what I want to do, I'll put it up on screen. Oh, it's a different one then. Put it up on screen here. Is this it? Yeah. All right. So I'm in trending. I want to start covering some of the trending topics for. So Bel Air. So the Fresh Prince of Bel Air is doing a drama version of that same thing. Random acts of kindness. Ivanka's in the news. Judge rule. Trump and his children must testify in New York AG's investigation. And that's big news. Having these carrots for these liberals that are buying and invested in this story. This is a story that watch will end right around election time. Because this is about the election. January 6th committee is about the election in 2024. Doesn't look like there's any much else. Oh God. Let me see this. So there's a video. Thought I was gonna be able to get through this without nonsense, but it looks like there is So Joy Behart from The View, or The Spew, if you know, depending on how you look at it, The Spew, as somebody labeled it that in the comments the other time. But let's see if there's video of her making said comments here that she's talking about. The View. She is going to do humanity a favor and wear a mask indefinitely.
Personally, I listen to the little
Let's
voice in my
see.
head that
Let's see here. What's she saying?
personally, okay, personally, I listen to the little voice in my head that doesn't really follow 100% what they tell me because they keep changing it.
Yeah.
Right. So, like very short time ago, they were saying put the N95 masks on, and now they make sure it's up. And now they're saying you don't have to wear them anymore.
Yeah.
So if I go on the subway, if I go in a bus, if I go into the theater, if I go into where else would I go?
A crowded spot.
A crowded place, I would wear a mask, and I might do that indefinitely. Because why do I need a flu or a cold even? And so I'm listening to myself right now. I don't think it's 100% safe.
This is the reaction. So this is a good jump off here. So she's completely ridiculous and stupid. We already know that. It's The View. That's what it is. But this kind of triggers the same subject, where you have people, liberals, who, because this is the effect that's going on. You've propagandized people so much about the pandemic and fear mongering. I'm sorry, I heard something out. With fear mongering, so they're on board. Vaccinate, lockdown. Let's do all this stuff. I'm unsafe because you've worked people into this frenzy. But working people into this frenzy created a couple of things. Two, people aren't going back to work. It's other factors, but people not going back to work because you work them into a frenzy that they're going to get it and die. So, and then there's this reaction where the people who drank the Kool-Aid, the propaganda pandemic Kool-Aid, now that they're having to lift mask mandates, for example, before the CDC comes out, this is a world that doesn't make sense. Like, what? We're lifting mask mandates? What? Well, why? They're scared because they've been worked up into a frenzy, and now these mandates are going away, and they're, oh no, I'm still gonna wear a mask. Like, this is not the first conversation The View has had about this. I can't remember the other host, but she was like, "What's going on?" You're like you're saying, you just told us to wear a mask because it's all bullshit. You've been worked up into a frenzy, and now that bullshit story is falling apart, or they're having to retract part of it, it's not computing to you. This is just insane. And I'm not all of this that stuff around the vaccines and I'm not that invested in arguing about this stuff. Just not. Oh, anti-vax, you're okay, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Just being so invested every single day in this blue-red game, this vaccinated versus unvaccinated fight, this CDC versus non-CDC fight. Like, I'm good. I'm good. So, that's the video, I guess, of her. That's what's trending. I'm assuming that's the only, video. So, but if there's something else, I guess I'll find it here. It says, breaking news, jury finds Eric K. guilty for distributing fentanyl and causing the death of Tyler Scatz. I think that's a picture, isn't it? I think that's a picture that died. Trump to Hitler. Let's see what this is here. After columnist David Trump shared his thoughts on Elon Musk comparing Justin Trudeau to Adolf Hitler, some recall from writing that Donald Trump and Hitler share some of the same thinking in 2008 article for The Atlantic. Non-story. So let's see if there's anything else. Oh, Rush Limbaugh died 1 year ago today. So, wow, it's been a year already. That guy was terrible. Awful. Lou Dobbs. Let's see what Lou Dobbs is going. What's going on with Lou Dobbs here? Political commentary. Lou Dobbs told Rep. Matt Gaetz that he and Rep. Jim Jordan should be considered for Speaker of the House should the GOP retake its majority instead of Kevin McCarthy. This shit is fucking laughable. Matt Gaetz, doesn't he have like some sexual predator issues going on? And Jim Jordan, that's laughable. Jim Jordan is a clown. And I think I'm going to start doing a show called, a podcast called The Republicans Are Terrible Too. Because they do a lot of shit that it's just, I want to start covering because the shit is that stupid. All right, so Coppola, what is that? Oh. Oh, okay. Never mind. All right. So I think that's going to be it. We have been on a good hour and 45 minutes. We're going to be signing off here. I'm going to throw up a bunch of comments before I sign off. So if you like the stream, if you like the channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you like the content. They're messing with our subscribers, so if you believe you're subscribed, double check just to make sure that you're subscribed. I have COPD and chemicals in commercial bathrooms would send me to the ER, so I always wear a mask in the bathroom. You know what? I like wearing a mask too. I just don't, I'm kind of a private person. In public, I kind of like the shielding of my face, but it has nothing to do with sickness. I would wear it for that, but not because of why Joy Behar is wearing it. CDC flipped on the mask within like 2 weeks, confusing people. Yeah, because it's all made up bullshit. 6 feet, 10 days, 15 days. Just makes you understand that these people have no idea what they're doing. Let's see. Asian countries wear masks all the time. Masks are wise, but do not make me morally superior. Oh, you're referring to yourself. Mandates become a personality. Mandates become a personality. That is true. It's kind of a personality now. Running as a Democrat is like a white supremacy saying support reparations. It's silly. I kind of get that analogy. This person says it does more harm. I will mask until I actually see low transmission numbers. Do what you do. 1 million will get it and die by April. Okay. Mask didn't do anything. Okay. Okay. There's certain things about white political conversation that bothers me. Because you bring up vaccinations and every motherfucker got something to say, but you talk about somebody getting shot by the police, your fucking mouth is closed. You got a bunch to say about a lot of shit that don't fucking matter. Joe Rogan, you got a whole ton of shit to say about that shit. But then it comes to other stuff, then your fucking mouth is shut. Anyway, before I get into another rant, let's go ahead and end this stream. Thank you for joining me today. Please like this video, subscribe. Patreon, if you can, contribute to the Revolutionary Blackout Network. Or what else? Patreon for Revolutionary Blackout Network. I have my mutual aid. I think is it my mutual aid? Let me see what it is scrolling at the bottom. Support. Yeah, I think my mutual aid is scrolling at the bottom if you would like to contribute to that. Venmo, I don't have it in the bio, but my Venmo is J the Director. And my Cash App is J the Populace. So either one of those, if you're able to donate, absolutely. Thank you for any donations that is given. I am signing off, and today's Thursday. I will be back here for another episode of You Left Shit Out. Signing off. I'm Compton J.
It's rough. And I mean, I done slept in Lower Wacker, I done slept on the bridges, I done slept in little cardboard boxes and stuff, you know, just surviving, especially in the wintertime is the hardest time. It was Ronald Davis. I've been on the street for about a year and a half now. Well, I come from the suburbs. Life, you know, which is rough. And I mean, I done slept in Lower Wacker, I done slept on the bridges, I done slept in little cardboard boxes and stuff, you know, just surviving, especially in the wintertime is the hardest time. And like, I go to fill out applications for a job and stuff. They look at me, you know, I'm not looking presentable. And then we'll call you, leave a number. But how can I leave a number when I don't have a phone? So it's just a struggle out there, you know. I just, you know, from day to day, people, I come out here and panhandle with my cup right here at the Metro train station. People come off, bringing me sandwiches and stuff like this here. And I start out in my morning about 6 o'clock. You know, sometimes I don't even have enough to go to the flop house. You know, sometimes the flop house is a cheap place and they number $16 for 24 hours right over there on Clark and Van Buren. And a lot of times I don't have enough money for that. So I had to end up sleeping in the park or on one of these benches downtown or something like this. And then the security guards come and run you off about 5 or 6 in the morning. So by 6 o'clock, I started panhandling and trying to survive. And like I said before, some days I don't even have enough to get a room, so I just sleep on the street. But I depend on the people that's coming off the train because most of them I give them respect.